Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxwell here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube and even on Spotify, I am not the only man here, and that is not Lyle. No, that is Toddrick Gotcher. He's probably not going to like me saying this, but he's a GOAT in my book when it comes down to Texas Tech men's basketball. I know he's a humble guy, just like Lyle, but he's a Romanian Cup winner. He won't say it, but he was a key part of that team going there. 18-6-5 to win that. Truly one of the nicest guys I've ever met when it comes to Texas Tech athletics and men's basketball. And then I didn't tell him I was going to say this, but I have to say it. In my opinion, he is truly one of the one or two guys from a player perspective that I think turned around Texas Tech men's basketball to where they got today. So, Mr. Toddrick Gotcher, my guy, how you doing, man?
Man, all good, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the intro. That was special. I don't like to take credit for none of it, but man, I'm glad where we are today, the Texas Tech program. So I appreciate it.
Man, I remember the first time I met you. I'm sure you don't remember this, and that's totally okay. I mean, you remember playing in those days where there was not very many students, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before Raider Riot, there was this like 7 or 8 students that went to all the home games and whatnot. And then we got to meet you, G. Vanetti, and all these guys. And I can remember I was like, man, that's just a good dude right there. But like, it was before those days where like you were building it up with Tubby. And we're going to talk about that too. But it was just, it's kind of surreal seeing from the outsider's perspective, you know, hey, NBA, sometimes it doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean, I think a lot of kids get it twisted. Like, just because you don't make it to the NBA doesn't mean you can't be a really, really good professional basketball player. And I think you're a prime example of that, my guy. So we're going to talk about TBT, obviously, and then going to get your thoughts about Grant McCasland. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun because I think sometimes these interviews are a little bit too serious, if I'm being completely honest.
Perfect.
But, man, like, first and foremost, you're in Lubbock, getting to work out, going into the Womble and everything. You get that call from Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like, man?
Man, as soon as I got that call, I was like, "Are you sure you want to pick me, man? You know, because I'm a little older than these guys that went to the national championship and things like this. In their eyes, I'm considered a veteran, so they call me vet on the court and things like that, which is I appreciate it now, but it was just a surreal feeling to put on a Texas Tech jersey again in practice. So can't wait for the game Wednesday, but it's amazing.
Yeah, what's that like? Like, again, and rightfully so, you don't expect one of these things to come to Lubbock, but your last time on the floor as a Red Raider there at the USA, you were like, all right, this is the last time I'll wear a Texas Tech jersey. And now you get a second opportunity as an Air Raider to represent Texas Tech on a national scale. Like, you saw how Texas Tech fans show out all the time at the USA, but even for the TBT as well. What's it going to be like going into the USA and getting almost like a second opportunity as a Red Raider in an environment that I'm sure is just going to be absolutely bonkers there at the USA?
Man, I think it'll be special. I mean, when I was practicing on the Womble, I was just looking around, being in a moment. Obviously in college, you take some things for granted. Obviously, we didn't have the Womble, but just being in there practicing was great. So I can't imagine the USA. I'll probably get chills just walking out and, that. I mean, I can't wait for that moment just in warm-ups. I might miss a couple of layups because I'm still trying to take in the moment. So it'll be fun, but I definitely have chills for sure.
Like when you look at it, like, are you recruiting guys? Were you early on in the process where you were like, hey, like, come play Davide, for example? Like, were you one of those guys helping Andrew, like, reach out to all these guys? Or was that just like, hey, Andrew, let me know who I'm going to play with. I'm trying to enjoy my offseason a little bit before I get ramped back up.
Well, so Andrew and Clark Lammer is also a big part of it. My roommate in college, they both called me, and I was ready to really, see. They brought it to me first, and like, hey, we don't have any players, but we're trying to sign these guys. And when they did the national championship team, most of those guys, I was like, all right, for sure. Like, I'm for sure joining I just wanted to get a chance to play with those guys. I mean, obviously you're a fan I was a fan of them watching, and I mean, even Jerry Culver kind of helps out in our practices. He's not playing, but he's working out with us and things like that. So that's just to play with those guys is special. So I was a little bit a part of it for sure.
What were you? We're backtracking a little bit, not TBT related. What were you doing when Texas Tech was making that Final Four run? Obviously, you're playing overseas, but like, what was that like trying to keep up with it? Because it's a drastic time change, right? Like, how many hours was it? Like 6, 7 hours? Oh my God,
8 hours. So that's a good question, actually. So it was a national championship game, and in Europe, I was playing a team that wasn't really good. So I asked my TM. I said, "Listen, I know we're gonna win this game for sure. So allow me to, make a quick trip to the championship game, and I'll fly right back. I'll miss the game, but I'll miss the European game just to watch the NCAA." And he thought about it for a second, but man, the stand up, it was 4 a.m. During my time in Europe, and it was 8 p.m. And I forgot where they played. So the 8-hour difference is, I mean, I had an alarm at 3:30, woke up and watched it, and man, I couldn't go to sleep that whole entire day. The next day for sure.
No caffeine needed whatsoever at that point.
Yeah,
you're just running on adrenaline.
I'm running on straight adrenaline, excited. So it was a great opportunity just to watch these guys and be in that environment for sure.
Yeah, that's like legitimately one of my favorite memories. I was there in Minnesota, and that was like the first time where I actually felt like in this business, I was actually something, even though obviously none of us really are. We're just asking questions and whatnot. But I was just like, man, this is pretty sick, And then my favorite thing to say about it too is, I mean, you played in the tournament before, so you see behind the scenes and everything like that. And you saw, I'm sure, like the black curtains cutting off the stuff out there when y'all were in, I believe it was Greensboro, right? The year you guys went?
It's Raleigh, North Carolina. I think it was Raleigh, North Carolina. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Greensboro or Raleigh. I couldn't remember. Yeah, that's right. Y'all played where the Hurricanes played.
Right.
Like I remember, like just funny details you get in like the notes. And they said that the NCAA spent $1.2 million on curtains. And I was like, I don't know. I always like to bring that up just to like get people's reaction, because when I heard it, I was like, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
That is unbelievable, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Apparently because they own their own color of black. I didn't know that either. They own a color of black. Yeah, it's crazy, man. We digressed hard there. That's on me for taking us off the rails. I'll take that L. When you come back though, right? Like in TBT and you're practicing with these guys and everything. We've seen the pictures, y'all hanging out with Culver. I'm not sure what house that's at, but it doesn't really matter. But y'all are all hanging out together and everything. What's it like being back around? I believe it was Chris Level. I don't want to get his stat wrong, but he was the one that tweeted out that said there were 9 different, like, quote unquote, generations of Texas Tech basketball affiliated with this team. What's it like kind of being almost in like a melting pot of Texas Tech men's basketball history all at one time?
Man, I think to be honest, so taking it a step back, like when we all got in the gym today, we were all just looking at each other like they had a highlight of each player. We met the Texas Tech team met us today, so they had a highlight to remind those guys of these are the alumni, this is where they came from. So they had 3 clips of a highlight of each player, and it just had the years. And like, for example, Kyler Edwards, he was playing 2018 or something like that. Then they went back to John Roberson. And the difference of the TV, like the pixel and
the quality,
the quality was terrible. We were like, "Oh, he's old," So it's just, man, it was great to see. Just a great generations mixing it up. It's special. It's special to be under one roof at one time. So we love it.
Yeah, man, that's the thing too that I think is super cool. Like, and you hear about it with football because obviously I talked to Lyle a lot doing the podcast with him about how Joey McGuire has kind of made it a point of emphasis that, your eligibility is run out, but you'll always be a part of this program, right? Yes. And that's
Yeah.
super cool to hear that Grant McCaslin's doing that. And like they literally put clips together of you guys. By the way, I will say it, Toddrick. Maybe we end the interview here because you get upset with me. But you traveled against Oklahoma in the game, right?
I travel. I call it travel.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I travel.
I'm not mad that they didn't call it, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I think if they would have called it, we would have lost, to be honest, because there was
With Buddy?
with 1.2 left. Anything can happen off the glass. So
You couldn't call that though.
What if you look at we looked at the clip after I traveled, obviously, the refs, they saw the storm. So we got to thank the students because they saw us rush the floor and the refs ran out so fast. So they saved us from that call. So
that's one of my favorite clips. Like honestly, for me, like it's right up there with like that Keenan shot against UT, obviously JC and that shot up in the Final Four against Michigan State. But you literally running from one corner of the court to the other. I don't even know if you dribbled once. I don't care that you didn't dribble. I really don't. Right. And I don't think anybody else does. It's just always funny. Me and my buddies like that all go to Tech. I'm in this group chat and I told them I was interviewing you today. And they all told me like, ask Toddrick if he traveled. And I was like, he's going to say yes. He's going to say yes. He's an honest guy. But like, who cares if he did? Like they didn't call it. You're going to go back to 2016 and replay that 1.3? Like, what are we doing here? You know?
You're right. So no, that was, man, I'm glad they didn't call it though. So that was amazing.
Man, that was the first time I think as a student. I don't know for you, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the first time you played in front of a sellout at Tech? That wasn't a Kansas game. Let me rephrase that. If it wasn't a Kansas game.
So we sold out Oklahoma State when Marcus Smart.
That's right. Oh, the Marcus incident. I forgot about that game.
That's the first sold out game I've ever played, and man, it couldn't have panned out any better, to be honest. Like, we stormed that incident. Like, that was just a great. I've never seen Tech so loud. So that's my first one for sure.
If you would have only known how many sellouts were coming after.
Man,
like what you, I mean, hey, he's on the team now, Jordan. Like, I mean, and then you got Jay as well. Like what y'all were like slowly building, and then you get a guy like Tubby. We'll talk about him a little bit later too. I mean, just changing of a who would have thought kind of deal. I have digressed you 7 times during the first 13 minutes, but that's just kind of what I do. But I want to get like your overall thoughts on this TBT squad, right? Like, again, I think obviously you know this better than anybody. Texas Tech, Red Raider Nation, they embrace everything that is Texas Tech, regardless of the sport. I mean, shoot, you see meat judging trending on Twitter sometimes, for goodness sake, right? But now you get to have TBT in Lubbock, right? Like, what does that mean to you? But also just like from the perspective of like, what can we expect as well from this squad that y'all have coming together? Because again, 9 generations, quote unquote, of Red Raiders affiliated with it.
Right, man, that was so. I expect nothing but great times. Loud. They said they sold out the lower bowl of the arena, which is unbelievable. That's around 10,000 fans or so. So I think it's going to be. I mean, Syracuse, which they have 6,000. They only have 6,000 fans that come. So for us to surpass that is unbelievable. So what to expect from this team, man, is just I think we're going to play hard. We're full of pros. Everyone is a pro. Everyone knows how to play basketball. You got the mastermind, Matt Mooney at the point guard with John Roberson. I call him the super vet because he's a little older than me. Those two just know how to run the team. You have guys that can shoot it. Parker Hicks, which a lot of people don't even know, he went from Tech to LCU and became a 2-time All-American. I mean, he can play. He can light it up. And you got the athletes, Tyreek, Zach, Tolbert, Dayon Kravitz. Like, we just have a roster full of players that can know how to play basketball. So I'm really excited, and it'll be it'll be loud. I know Wednesday.
Yeah, no. Let the people know about Parker Hicks. That's what is that? Lubbock Cooper Liberty now, right? Head
Yeah,
coach. There
yeah.
you go.
So he's a Lubbock local now for sure. So he's loving it and went from a coach back to a player. Then after TBT, he'll go back right to a coach. So he loves it though. He's excited.
I remember Parker Hicks giving me nonstop buckets at the rec one day.
Man,
I don't feel bad about it. I mean, it's Parker Hicks.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
electric, right? But I had no idea who he was at that point. I think he was like a freshman coming in.
yes,
And he comes in with all of his buddies, and we're like, oh, cool, they got a tall guy.
yeah.
I didn't see the court but for 5 minutes, Toddrick, that day. You know how the court runs.
Oh yeah.
If you get
Fact.
skunked, you're out. Yeah.
You're done. You might as well
Especially on court C. On court C, that's big time. That's the Mecca.
That's
right
the NBA.
there. Yeah, I had to go over by the indoor soccer court on court A where they put the jabronis like myself just to even see the court. Man, it was rough. Man, and then I remember it was Devin Thomas came in one day with Zach Smith, and I got to run with them. I don't know why they decided to pick me. I'm just not a conditioned athlete like that, Toddrick. I get winded walking to the fridge sometimes.
Yep.
So
yeah.
So hey, good times, man. Good times.
For sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's insane though that they're expecting lower. But I bet you get around 12,000 people there because there'll be some walk-ups too.
Well, I feel like if we win and the Texas team wins that second game, man. That's what I'm like. We might be a sellout, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, man. I want to do some rapid fire questions just around the TBT squad because I know you know some of these guys. You played with some of them. Obviously, Jordan Tolbert. We won't talk about the whole SMU part of his career. It was an understandable, transfer, but we won't talk about it. We'll forgive the guy for this one. So I got 5 questions. Quick as the first person that comes to your mind. Right. No hesitation. I'm not trying to get you canceled or anything with the team, but honesty is the greatest policy. Here we go. Most likely to take the ox in the locker room.
Zach Smith.
What's he playing? First song. You could say an artist too.
Some hippie. I don't know, man. This dude just loves some hippie music. He's slow. He might play Bob Marley. Like, seriously.
Nothing like Bob Marley to get you hyped before you play in the TBT, right? Nothing like it. Okay. Who is the funniest person on the team?
Tyler Edwards. He's just a jokester and he keeps us all rolling. So he's great smile and keeps us all electric.
Instant bucket, Kyler Edwards right there. Who's the worst dressed?
I might have to go Parker Hicks. He's such a coach. You know, he got the coach look. So,
Get it. Yeah. Yeah, my friends say that I have the youth pastor look, so I completely understand. I get it. I really do. I think it's just a hair thing, Toddrick, if I'm being honest about it. I mean, I get it. But it does hurt my feelings a little bit. So I'm right there with you, Parker. I understand. All right. Who's the best dressed?
Toddrick Owens. He comes in fly every day. So he's the best dressed.
You think it's because he's just like 7 foot and it makes the clothes look better?
I think so, man. He'll throw on something and it's like, okay, I can see how you put it together. So probably.
Yeah. I mean, you're 6'4". I mean, you're taller than literally 98% of the population or something. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. Don't hold me to that number, please, people. But you're taller than a lot of people. And it's like, all right, you're going to pull some stuff off. You're going to look good. So I can only imagine if you stretch somebody out just a little bit more.
Exactly. He knows he knows what he's doing for sure.
I do think it gets a little bit awkward, though, when you get to like Victor Wembanyama size.
That's very awkward. I don't know if he's wearing jean pants or jean shorts. Like his shirts are forever long. So
yes, I'm right there. Oh, and we got a visitor. I love that right there.
Yeah, he came to say hello.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, you were out in Vegas, by the way, right?
Yes, I was there watching everybody. So I really enjoyed my time in Vegas for sure.
Where'd you stay?
So I stayed at the Encore, which is kind of
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
it's too uppity for me, honestly. But it was fun. It was fun.
I went out there for the bachelor party during the first week. We went to go see Victor's first game when he was trash,
Yep.
and we got to make
Yeah.
jokes. And then he was really good the second game.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but we stayed at Planet Hollywood, and I was like,
Okay.
man, it's like the perfect amount of vac. You were out there a lot longer than I was because you were out there
Yeah.
for like 8 days, right?
5 days, which is way
Gee,
too long.
that's too many days. That's
That's
too
way
many
too.
days.
3 max.
Yeah.
3
Thank
max.
you. That's what I was about to ask. What's that sweet
Yeah.
spot? I think it's 3. I
3.
think you can make it 4 if you leave
Yeah.
on the 4th day.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
3 max.
But like one of my buddies, he was like, I could live out here. And I'm like, no, you can't.
No
No, you
chance.
can't. Like, no, you can't.
No.
Like, I thought the same thing the first time I went out there. And now I've been back for work. And then obviously the bachelor party this is my 3rd time in less than a year. And I was like, this is too much for me. I need to see some water.
Yeah.
And not the Bellagio fountains either. I got to see some real water.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. Okay. And again, Parker, I'm with you on the dress attire, man. I get it. Full transparency, my fiance gets a lot of my clothes for me. I don't know how to really, I don't have any fashion sense.
That's marriage. That's marriage right there. So.
I don't have any fashion sense whatsoever.
It's okay.
Yeah, I could have worse things, so that's fine. I want to transition, though. You've been around the team a little bit. Obviously, you're there in Lubbock. You get to go to the Womble. You talked earlier, just said you got to meet the team and you got to see some of your highlights around them. What's your thoughts on Grant McCasland, right? Like, obviously, you've only met him a couple times and everything, but not trying to read a book by its cover. But what are your initial thoughts of him, and what do you think he could potentially do for Texas Tech?
So I've actually known Mr. Grant McCaslin for a while. I was getting recruited by Baylor during high school in 2011 through 2016. He was at Baylor. My father went to Baylor, so I've known those guys, him, Jerome Tang, all the Drew Scott, forever. So I've always had a great impression on him. I knew he'll be a head coach one day, and there was like maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I came in to do a press conference for TBT, and Mr. Grant was there. So I haven't saw him since 2016 when we played against them. He recognized me immediately, met the team. They shook my hand, and he asked me to speak to the team. And I was like, oh, man, he's a great hire for us, and he'll change this program where we need to get back to where we need to be. So I'm very excited. He'll do the job for sure.
Talk about like when you're around the team, right? Like obviously putting on the spot in terms of like having to make a speech. That's interesting. But like also, hey, it's to be expected, right? At the same time,
right.
Like when you're around those guys in a limited time, like what's the kind of, I don't know, this feels so social media questiony, but what kind of vibes do you get, around the program right now? Because like, I mean, you've been through it in terms of like, you've had a new coach come in during your career. Like, what that's like. Obviously a vastly different situation in terms of the reasonings they left. But like, what kind of vibes, I guess, do you get from this current program and what they're going through right now in terms of that transition into the McCaslin era?
I mean, I feel like it's a lot of excitement around it. I mean, as soon as you enter the Womble, you hear the guys yelling, screaming, and it's just stretching. They're just stretching, pulling their quads, and they yelling here and there. And I'm like, man, where am I at a game? But it's just the beginning of practice. So it's, it's fantastic that everyone's excited. The donors, we went to a donor event 2 nights ago for dinner and hanging out with the TBT guys. But every donor is excited. They're ready. They're at practices the same like I was at Tech. So it should be a great year. I think obviously it's going to be some growing pains at the beginning, but that's every team that gets a new coach. It's not going to be fast. So, but we're excited. They're excited, and I love it.
What's that process like? Obviously, again, we prefaced it before I asked you that last situation, but what's it like as a player transitioning from a guy that probably didn't recruit you? Obviously, it's a little different, for some of these guys. They did get recruited with the portal and everything
Right.
by McCaslin and crew. But like for the mainstays, so like the Pops and, Lamar's and those guys, like what's it potentially like going in from one year having a coach that recruited you to the next year? It's like, hey, I have to build like a whole brand new relationship potentially with somebody that maybe they recruited you a little bit before you got to inevitably went to Texas Tech. But what's it like actually like developing those relationships almost on the fly? Because I mean, better than anybody, college basketball, it's 365 days a year now.
Right, man. So I went through it 3 times. 3 times during my career. I committed under Pat Knight. Pat Knight and Chris Beard are the reason I came to Tech during I was a senior, then they got fired, then Billy Gillespie, then Chris Walker, then Tubby came. So I've experienced it as a player 3 times in my career. And now you have to, you have to show yourself. You have to pretty much reinvent yourself to new coaches. They don't know much about you. They'll watch film, but it doesn't give the whole story. So it's a learning process. It's very hard. I really appreciate guys that actually stay under new coaches because it's very hard. And nowadays, everyone just goes to the portal and get transfer out when a new coach comes. So it's really hard on guys at the beginning, and you start asking the AD, asking donors like, "Hey, who are we? What's going to happen next?" So I appreciate those guys that stay for sure.
Are you a fan of the portal at all?
I hate the
yes
I hate
and
the
no
portal.
probably. Oh, you hate it? Okay.
I hate the portal because you don't see 4-year guys anymore. Me, Norris, Keenan, Clark, we talked about it last night actually, where the alumni base for Tech basketball players, it stopped from 2018 when Keenan, Norris, Zach, because now we're in the portal, we're getting new guys every year. So the alumni is kind of like, it's hard to connect. Like when I go back in the past, I was going back to Norris. I was going back to Zach, where those guys play with me. So now it's like I have to introduce myself to a new group of guys every year, which is weird, but it's a business, so we understand it.
I'm trying to think because I hadn't thought about that from like the player's perspective, because you get to go in there, you get to interact with them a little bit more.
Right.
I think like I might be wrong. Somebody call me out in the comments if I am. But I think Norris is the last 4 or 5 year player that Texas Tech has had.
He's the last one.
I think I could be. I think that's right.
He's the last one. I mean, he's the one that brought it up. Like everyone else are 1 or 2 year guys and they get out, or something doesn't go their way and they transfer. So I think he's the last one. You may be right.
That's crazy. And that was literally just, it seems like a lifetime ago, but that was just legitimately 4 seasons ago.
Exactly.
It's crazy how that works out. All right. I want to have some fun. Rapid fire. This is about you, not about TBT, strictly you. All right. You played overseas. You played in America. Where's the best place you've ever played basketball? And you cannot say Garland, Texas.
Okay. Istanbul, Turkey. Yeah.
Istanbul. Okay.
Istanbul, Turkey is the best place I've ever played basketball. They're in Paris. I'll give Paris a chance too, but Istanbul is amazing. Amazing. In Paris, let me tell you the difference between Istanbul, they play high IQ basketball, meaning like the guys like Luka, Jokic, that's how they play basketball over there. So it's not about athleticism. It's about how to get the ball in the basket with a back cut, a swing, an extra pass. Now in Paris, you see all these guys getting drafted, but they're all just athletic and can't really shoot. So I give that brand of basketball the most athletic I've ever seen, other than college. So, because the Frenchies, they can jump out of the gym. Like they really can get up and down the floor. It's just almost NBA-like. So those are the top 2.
You got Victor in the top 10, and then you got that other kid from he ended up in Washington, I guess, on a draft night trade, with Indiana, and Jarris Walker. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't even know. But so Killian Hayes, I don't know if you know Detroit Pistons point guard.
Yep.
So I played in France in 2017. He was 15 years old. And he was our starting point guard at 15 years old, and he's the best 15-year-old. I was battling him in practice like he was a grown man because he was that good. So
how does that work? Like, does he still go to school?
No. So in France, they have a academy, like a basketball.
Yeah.
So it's strict. That's why they become pros at the age of 8, like 8 or 9 years old, where no school, basketball all day. That's why they're so ahead of a little bit of us as far as basketball IQ and things like that.
Hey, shout out to Luca, man. He brings me so much happiness. Please don't leave Luca.
Right, please.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, please don't leave. All right, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
What kind of dog?
Boxer.
Oh, spicy.
Yes.
Why boxer?
They're good around kids and they're active and they have tons of energy no matter the age. So I love boxers.
I like it. And you said you got one now?
Yes, we have one. So he's amazing. Amazing.
There you go. I have a husky and a wiener dog. It's a hell of a combination, but here.
Nice. That's it. Is a good mix.
Yeah. It's it'll throw you off if you see it in person. I'll tell you that much. You're like, what is that little chicken nugget? That's what I call her.
I love
she's just scooting down the street, and then you see a husky that all he wants to do is jump into your arms. It's an interesting combination. That's for sure.
I love it.
All right, I'm going to do a throwback question now here.
All right.
You and I are kind of close to the same age. We grew up around the same place. You're from Garland. I'm from Irving. So we're same here in terms of the DFW kids. Disney or Nickelodeon?
Ooh, I'm going to go Nickelodeon.
You're coming home from 5th grade, Toddrick. Whatever year that is. That was what? 2003, 2004?
Yes, around
in that range.
Mm-hmm.
You get the remote. You're the first one home. You get to decide what goes on the TV. You going to channel 42 or you going to channel 44? Disney, Nickelodeon. Which one are you going?
I'm gonna throw you off right here. I was a Cartoon Network type of guy.
Oh,
Tom and Jerry was I still watch it today.
Big Ed and Eddie guy?
Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I was a Cartoon Network type of guy.
Wow,
I think it was
you went 67.
Channel 60. Yeah. See,
yours was 60. Okay.
Ours was 60. So big Cartoon Network guy. Yeah.
What
about you?
I didn't even account for that. I didn't account for that.
What were you though?
I'm not gonna lie. I switched up. People call me a poser on this front. Definitely a Disney kid when I was younger. Like I'm talking like, elementary. Shout out to early Miley. If you know, you know. And then when we get into middle school, Zoe 101, I don't want to say she ruined my childhood when that show ended, but damn near did. And then Ned, Steve Classified or Declassified School Survival Guide, that show. I kind of want to say I was both, but I'm going to take the cop-out answer. If it's a TV show, I'm taking Nickelodeon. If it's a movie, Disney.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They had those original movies.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Are you on the High School Musical train? No,
I was a little bit. I watched 1 and 2, then that was it. Okay. I just hopped off.
Yeah, we got too old when 3 came around. I think they made too many anyway, to be honest.
They made way too many. So
it's like Fast and Furious at this point. Like we get it. You're fast and you're furious. We don't need it to be all about family for 17 years, bro. Like let's move on, Vin Diesel. Let's do something else here.
There is something else to be done. So yes, absolutely.
I will tell you, I was jealous when they were Tokyo drifting though, Toddrick. I'll be honest with you. 100%. That looks like a lot of fun, except I'm not drifting. I'm just going right into a building.
Yeah.
LeBron or MJ?
LeBron.
Thank you. I don't need to say anything else. I'm going on the same page here. I told you I'd bring him up. You can't say the motorcycle story, but what is the best Tubby Smith story you have? Because I remember the motorcycle event. That was fantastic. Unless you have like just a little quick, like something he said to you guys afterwards. But what's your favorite Tubby Smith story? Because he doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for what he did for Texas Tech basketball.
I agree too. I agree with that. Tubby Smith, my favorite story is we had practice at usually we practice at 4:00 every day, but one day he was like, "Hey, let's practice at 12." And everybody was like, "What? Like, why are we practicing at 12?" So he came into the huddles like, "Hey guys, we're gonna get in and out today. I have a tea time at."
Yeah, I love it.
We were like, "That's why you're shortening the practice." So he was like, "So I have a tea time at 2." And he was an older guy, so he needed practice before he had the tea time. So we're doing shooting 30 minutes. So, all right, guys, come in. We're like, no way. All right, guys, Texas Tech on 3. We're like, oh, he's the best ever. So 30 minutes. He went at 12:30 golf, invited me. So I golfed with him at the Raws, and I was like, oh, I could do this. I mean, I was a senior. Like, he only allows the senior to be up there. So that's probably, no one hears that story, but he was that type of guy. Like, if he loves his players, he'll invite you anywhere. So he doesn't get enough credit, I agree. So, for sure.
What did he shoot that day? You remember?
I don't know, because I was so mad at myself that I was trying to find my ball. High. Yeah, okay. I was trying to find my balls, and he was already at the green. So he probably shot up very low, under 80 or below for sure. So
what are you shooting on a regular basis
nowadays?
Not back then.
Now 86, 87.
Okay, we're on the same here.
Yeah, I'm not a pro, but I'm not losing 10 balls every time I go now. So that's improvement.
That's my mindset. If I go in, I always go in now with 2 sleeves of balls. I will leave with at least one of those balls. I promise. Yeah. I will leave with one. Yeah. I may lose the other 5, but I promise you I'm coming back with one. I'm coming back with at least one. Yeah. Yeah, I went the other day. I shouldn't say the other day. It was like last month. So anyway, I cannot hit a drive to save my life anymore. And that was my whole game. Like, I would hit bombs. So quick, side note here. I got my clubs in college because you know where the Scarlet is? The apartment's right behind the Overton, the student living right there.
Yep.
So I lived there. And I guess our next door neighbor was like a drug dealer or something. We're about to get really dark here. And so he got arrested for basically dealing drugs out of there. And they were throwing all of his stuff out. I was walking home from psychology class one day. And I noticed him. And I just simply asked the cop. I was like, hey, can I have these golf clubs? And he was like, I didn't see you take them. And I just with golf clubs. And I was like, all right, cool. And I'm like 95% confident, Toddrick, that the driver's loaded. It's loaded. Because a guy like me should not be hitting 320. It shouldn't be. And I'm hitting 320, bro. Like,
that's
I hit it straight, I'm hitting
it's 320.
Now the problem is if I hit it left or right, it's going maybe 50. But hey, it is what it is, you know. But yeah, that's my cool college story from how I got my golf clubs. Still have them to this day. Probably the last summer though. With those things are, man, bad memories, I guess, for that guy anyway. Great memories for me.
Right.
I told you I'd ask you this, and you full transparency, you were quick with it. You answered right away. You know what question I'm about to ask. Who's the better athlete, you or your wife?
I gotta give it to my wife, unfortunately. I mean, she ran the 800. She ran cross country. She still runs today. Like, she hasn't lost it. So, it's her for sure. I mean, I can't even argue. Like, there's no I can make a basket better. Well, she does it all. She plays basketball. She plays softball. Like, she does everything. And I just play basketball. So I have to give it to her.
Yeah, just play basketball at a professional level. Just play basketball. That's what it is, I guess. I will say this. Those are some hella good genes for the kiddos. That's all I'm going to say. Athletic.
We have 2 kids now. And one's in gymnastics, and my 1-year-old is already dunking. So I don't care about the girl playing basketball, but my son, I'm trying to, I'm not guiding him, but I'm pushing him the ball like, hey. So
hey, yeah, put this through the hoop real quick, and you want an Oreo, I'll get you one. That
Right,
kind of thing.
exactly.
I'm down
Yeah,
for it.
for sure.
Hey, positive
For sure.
reinforcement. It's a thing.
Oh yeah,
I
it
like
works.
it.
It works.
What is your hidden talent outside of basketball? That's not hidden or anything. Nothing basketball related. Your
Mm.
hidden talent. Like people would be surprised, like you do that well.
I know how to juggle really well.
Are we talking
I
like scarves? Are we talking like actual like objects that
like
have some weight to them?
object with weight. I can
Okay.
juggle. You can maybe throw a little fire on them. I think I can still get them up there.
Oh,
But yeah, I self-taught by the way too. I was just in college. You're doing random stuff. You got to grab some socks. How do people do this? That's how I taught myself how to juggle with some socks, and now I do it for my kids all the time. They think I'm a clown, so that's what I can do.
man, it must be really cool just to be able to like teach yourself stuff like that, like at a
Man,
quick level. Because
yes.
the only thing I'm good at, and I'm barely good at it, is plugging in a microphone to a computer. Um, but it is what it is.
Hey, it works. It works.
It pays the bills. It pays the
Yeah,
bills.
for sure.
Wait, how many things can you juggle? Are we talking like, because you know how some people can do like 3, 5, 7? Are you just strictly 3 or can you go up to 5?
I can go up to 5, but it's not pretty. It's like
Are you still juggling?
I'm still juggling, but
Okay, I don't
like
care if it's
some guys they do it and they're just in one spot. Me, I might go to the right a little bit. I'm chasing a little bit, but I can do it.
that ain't no problem. That ain't no
Oh
problem.
yeah,
Not at all. Keep it in the air. That's not a problem at all.
that's what it's about.
All right. Favorite musical artist?
Drake easily. Yeah.
All right,
Drake.
Toddrick. I need you to be the voice of reason for me here, please. My fiance can't hear you. I have the AirPods in just like
Okay.
yourself.
All right.
Hold on. Let me peek around the corner real quick. Hold on one second. No, she's in the other room. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Should I spend $300 on a ticket for Drake?
Oh, absolutely. Quietly, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I
But the problem is,
almost did.
I don't know if I can get her one because of how my bank account is set up. It takes like 3 days, and I don't want her to get upset about that.
See, I almost pulled one of those actually.
Yeah.
But if you go to Canada, they're a little cheaper. They're like $150.
But what about the flight to get up there?
Yeah, that might be rough, actually.
Because I'm literally like 2 blocks from where the Mavs play.
Oh, yeah. So it's worth it. I think it'll be worth it. So I went to three Drake concerts. I've never said this on air, but I've said this to my friends. I cried at all 3. I cried at all 3 concerts.
Favorite Drake song?
Oh, let's go Fear. It's called Fear.
I know. I got you. No, I got it.
Drake's Fear is a classic, and it's on repeat. If it comes on, my kids know it. That's how much I play it. So
best Drake album.
Take Care is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Take Care is unbeaten. I think that's why I cried, because it was during that era.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever you're going through, I feel it. So for sure.
That's high school for us.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in the moment for sure. Yeah.
No, I remember the first time I heard, like, what's it called? Hell Yeah. Not gonna say the other one right. Man, those were the days, man. Those were where it was like still like acceptable to wear baggy hoodies and those ugly big frame glasses, that had not even glasses lens in them. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. That's terrible.
Shout out to LMFAO, that period of time. My God, that was crazy. So you think I should do it just to get clarification?
Absolutely. And tell your wife it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, she may not find out. It's always better to ask for forgiveness on some things.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I'm very tempted though. Very tempted. Because have you seen? I'm sure. Do you have TikTok or anything like that?
I don't, but I see a lot of those reels. So. Did
you see him bring out J. Cole the other night?
I didn't. I saw him bring out Jason Tatum, but I didn't see the J. Cole one yet.
Yeah, he was in Montreal and he brought out J. Cole. Because I don't know if you know, 21 is opening for him, right?
Yes.
And 21 can't leave the country because, legal stuff. Yeah. So they had to get another guy to come with him, and he's just been kind of picking different people in different spots.
J. Cole's not bad to bring out. That's not a bad one.
Not bad. Just a top 5 rapper of all time. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Just the song of the summer
crazy.
with Lil Durk, in my opinion. No, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
For sure.
I'm glad we can agree on the Drake aspect of it. I feel like there's a lot of Drake haters.
Too many for no reason. It's just way too many.
Do you keep the same energy about Taylor Swift or no? Or indifferent?
My wife does. She's that way. The way I am with Drake, she's that way with Taylor Swift. So I let her have it. When it plays, I listen. I don't say a word. I'm nodding my head, and so that's how I go with that.
But you're not one of those people that's just like, hey, turn that off as soon as it comes on when it's Swift. Absolutely
not. I love Swift. Like every time she plays, I'm listening and jamming with it. Like I've been. So I love it.
Yeah, we went to see Taylor Swift here in Dallas in April, and it was a life-changing experience. If I'm being honest, I didn't know she had it like that, Toddrick.
I didn't either.
She was moving a little bit, and I was like, damn, I didn't know she had it like that. Yeah, I didn't know she had it like that. Yeah, I thought she was just kind of like, speaking of Cartoon Network, I thought she was just like the board from Ed, Edd n Eddy. That's kind of what I thought she was.
Yeah. Wow.
And like she started moving, and I was like, okay, I see you. Okay. I see you, T Swift. Okay. But no, definitely it's a lot of money. But if you have the opportunity to maybe surprise the misses at one point, hey, maybe with that TBT money, I don't know how much you're getting. That's up to you. I'm not asking about any financials or nothing. But
that's a good point. So when I got back from Europe, the first week, we were supposed to go to a Taylor Swift concert in Houston.
Where were y'all supposed to go? At NRG.
In Houston, yes. So, but it was the kids, but we were supposed to go. So I'm kind of mad I didn't go now that you say this. Man.
LA's a quick flight.
That's true. All right, I'll look into it. I'm not
TBT money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to help a fellow Swiftie out, it sounds like. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to be that guy. Favorite Texas Tech memory that does not involve basketball or proposing to your wife at center court?
Okay. I'm gonna go way back. Football beat West Virginia, and I stormed
the Geno game.
Smith, man.
Yeah, the Geno game
was crazy. So I think that is my favorite memory of all time. And man, Geno, I don't know, he's still in the league, like making.
He's killing it.
He's killing. So I'm proud of him as well. But that was my favorite memory for sure.
Man, I'm legitimately super jealous that you got to storm, or I guess rush the field.
Yeah, rush the field. Yeah.
The only opportunity I had, and sorry, Tech fans for bringing this up, was the TCU game, which I think it was a year after you graduated. Or were you there? No, you were there. You were still there.
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
You were still there.
Yep.
A piece of me died that night, Toddrick. Like, as a Texas Tech fan, like non-media or whatever aside, like as a strictly an alumni now, like a piece of me died that night.
That was the back of the end zone catch, right?
I questioned a lot. I questioned a lot. And to be honest with you, it kind of feels therapeutic talking about it now. I think it's the reason I hate the color purple.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's probably the reason I hate the color purple. Never really thought about it until right now like that, but I guess that's true. There you go. Well, those are all the questions I have, man. I really appreciate you hopping on. I know it's a crazy week for you. I wanted to say thank you for hopping on here and everything like that. Cannot wish you more success at the TBT, but even more importantly, overseas, because you're far from finished in terms of your playing career. All right, because you signed a 2-year contract with this team, right? You're back there next year. Are you right?
So I'm a free agent now. I signed 2 years ago. Now, in
the
next 2 weeks, I could be anywhere. So we will see. That's the fun thing about going to Europe. You can be in any country, but it's like a 2-week span for foreigners. So it's a very fun time. I'll be on the phone a lot.
Greece. You know what? I actually have one more thing before we get out of here, Todd.
Yeah.
I was mad at you for a second, and it wasn't anything that you did maliciously. But when you posted pictures of you in Greece with that view reading, I have never been more jealous of somebody through social media in my entire life. Like I was looking at this, and I promise you, I went back and I looked at the photo at least like 10 times because I was like, this is disgustingly awesome.
Well, I tell people, so I played 3 years in Greece, and that's the reason why. It's because everywhere you go, there's a beach, there's a view, there's mountains. There's like, that's why I try to encourage everyone to get to Europe, just to experience what they have that sometimes we don't have. Like we don't have just a beach where you can just go, and there's mountains right behind the beach, and I mean, it's just a beautiful place. So that I feel like I'm there now that you remind me. I feel like I'm reading there right now. So, man.
Yeah. I really wanted to just throw my phone up against the wall, but that wouldn't be a good financial decision, you know, like just out of sheer jealousy. But yeah, no, I had to bring that up because I was going to bring it up earlier, but I'm glad we got to the Europe conversation. Hopefully I get to experience that because that's where we're going on the honeymoon. So hopefully I get to experience that. You got to live there though. So yeah, I'll be there for like a few days. You know, you got to actually embrace it, but it should be a lot of fun.
It will be, I'm sure. So
what's your, before we get out of here, your favorite dish that I should try that's like native to Greece?
Okay, so do you eat pork? I gotta ask this.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's pork steak, which they're known for their meats pretty much. So like that. So pork steak, and it has the bone in it too. So that piece. Every time I go to Greece, that's the first thing I get every time. No matter what, I don't care if it's chicken over here, steak. Give me the pork steak and French fries, and because their fries
with French fries.
Yes, it's nothing like McDonald's. It's homemade. The chef is cutting them in the back. It's everything is handmade. So the vegetables are good. The Greek salad is good too. So you should get a Greek salad.
I love Greek salad.
Yeah. So it's nothing like America though. It's like fresh, super fresh. The oil is so definitely Greek salad with a pork steak. That's what I recommend.
You said fresh, obviously Lubbock. They've got the TBT this weekend. All I can think about right now, I don't know if you've been there, but Fun Noodle. Have you been to Fun Noodle?
No, I have not.
Check it out. Maybe a date night with the missus. It is off of, let me think, Marcia Sharp, and I'm gonna hedge my bets here. It's either Milwaukee or Indiana. I want to say Indiana, but it's in a little shopping center, and they make the noodles in front of you. Like it's fresh noodles, and like get the bao. I don't know if you're a bao guy or not, like a dumpling guy.
Okay,
get it. Okay. Get it. It's. I think about it probably twice a week, even here in Dallas. Probably, yeah. Tonight. It's at least twice a week. Yeah.
Okay, we may go tonight actually. So
it's a good little date spot. Nothing crazy. Definitely. It's not going to break the bank. Not going to break the bank, but it'll fill your stomach. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I need. So for sure.
There you go.
For sure.
He is the man, the myth, the legend, Toddrick Gotcher. Legitimately one of the nicest people to ever grace the campus of Texas Tech, and he was a damn good basketball player at that too. You can see Toddrick and all of the 9 generations of Texas Tech men's basketball in the TBT tournament in the 806 at the USA on Wednesday against the Purple Hearts, correct? I got their team name right.
Yes.
Okay. Tip-off is scheduled for 8 on July 19th. Toddrick, they can follow you at LeagueMe_0, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Also, that's just a baller ass handle. I just, mine are my stupid initials, Toddrick, and it is what it is.
Man, that's nice. It's nice, man.
It's simple, straight to the point. Got too many initials. Throw the birthday in there. We call it a wrap. You know what I mean? That's how it should be. But he's Toddrick Gotcher. I am RC Maxfield. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the know and hear more interviews like this right here on the biggest Texas Tech YouTube channel, the Back to 12 podcast channel.